And in watching these first episodes, it looks like you're having so much fun.
I was watching it with my son. He was like, "Mom, we'll fix it." And she's like, anything that happens, like, Melanie's gonna fix it.
Hi, David.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
Okay, so in season 1, we watched Leighton tirelessly fight for democracy on Snowpiercer and to unite the train. And then when he finally does it, a new battle comes up on his caboose. Where does that leave Leighton in season 2?
Leighton's in a pretty tricky spot. He is promised to bring a version of democracy to the train, and then is immediately confronted with now being in power, being the person everybody's looking to, whether that was his intention or not, but having to fight another war on that side of things. Which, and as we're all too familiar with, the instance of war sometimes is known to necessitate some restrictions on democracy in the interest of protecting a populace. And so Leighton's immediately confronted with sort of like the worst possible situation for a leader who's made a lot of promises about how much better things can be.
How has the pandemic and isolation and the apocalyptic nature of this last year changed the way you look at Snowpiercer?
You don't want a show like this to feel as prophetic as it sometimes does. You know,
Yeah.
it's supposed to feel, there's supposed to be a base level of fantasy about it because that's our buy-in. Our ability to see ourselves in it is by thinking that it's just outside of our reach, but sometimes it feels a little too close, and that's not the writer's fault. That's just the world.
Given your extensive background in theater and the need to emote and perform for that back row, how much of a learning curve was there to performing in a show like this where it's all very close quarters and a lot of close-up camera shots, not a lot of wide shots in this?
Are you bringing that up because I'm overacting a lot in the show?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Sometimes I think I am. I don't know.
You're not.
I really thrive in an environment with very good directors. For season 2, Christoph as our producing director, who would often step in and say, "Hey, we can actually be bigger here, we can be smaller here," or like, "The passion you're feeling is correct, but it's reading silly." Like, he would tell me that, and I really appreciate that, you know, like, because I'm gonna be the one left out there hanging, like when I'm chewing up the scenery and the scenery's sitting right here next to me. So.
Well, we have previously talked about Snowpiercer, and I told you that in season 1, the moment where you eat that grilled cheese is 10 seconds of the greatest acting I saw all last year. Like, it almost brought me to tears how much Leighton loved that grilled cheese. So I love you in this show, to be clear.
I appreciate it very much.
So when Big Alice catches up with Snowpiercer, Mr. Wilford sends forward this laundry list of items that he wants, including his favorite bottle of scotch. What would be your list of comfort items, whether it's food or books or movies, that you would ask for from Snowpiercer?
Oh man, yeah, the scotch is a good choice, but it would be gin in my case, and I'd probably ask for a case of it instead of a bottle. I don't know, like that seems definitely not enough to get me through the rest of the apocalypse. Yeah, what else? I mean, I'm so jealous. David is very jealous of Mr. Wilford, or really of Sean Bean when working on this show, right? Like, the clothes he gets to wear, I am so enamored with.
Everybody got their top buttons done up.
And so, like, it would probably be something like that. Like, I want like the flyest, like that fly 3-piece suit I left in my closet, you know, just to put it on one time, just to like take a bath and then put it on.
you want a sweet robe.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stunt in my own room. That's it.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time with me, David. I'm a huge fan and absolutely love this show.
I appreciate you, David. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Hi, Rowan.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm good, thanks. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Thank you for having me.
You, of course, play Melanie Cavill's daughter, Alexandra, who we thought was dead, but she's not, and is very much torn between two parents, her biological mother, Melanie, and sort of her adopted father, Mr. Wilfred. Can you tell me a little bit more about that dynamic?
I think that Alex is kind of used as a chess piece between Wilford and Melanie. Both of them kind of have sort of almost manipulative ways of using her. And both of them have like kind of a care for her to varying degrees. And I think that she has care for both of them, and she really looks at, Wilford as kind of her only parent, I think. Because Melanie really wasn't there. So kind of their relationship and her experiencing sort of longing for her mother, that only starts happening during the season.
The first time Alex walks through Snowpiercer, I was struck by just how amazed you looked looking at this world around you. And I wondered, was that the first time you had ever seen the set, or do we just chalk that up to your amazing acting?
Oh gosh, thank you. Well, I mean, Alex comes from not Snowpiercer, obviously. She comes from Big Alice. There's very obviously key differences between Big Alice and Snowpiercer. Big Alice, we have to share kind of everything. There's not really like luxury foods. There's not like displays of wealth other than, Wilford's. The sets were pretty amazing. They kind of get more amazing as the season goes on.
At one point in this new season, we get a glimpse of Alex's bunk, or basically her bedroom. I thought it was really funny that even in this dystopian world, even on a train, she still kind of decorates her bunk like a teenager would.
Yeah, I mean, she's lived there. She's lived there her whole life. I think she has to make it somewhat of a comfortable bunk.
And she has like hand-drawn art, whereas like I had just photos of professional wrestlers all over my bedroom wall when I was a teenager.
Yeah, well, you have to remember she doesn't have access to the same things. There's like not like, magazines or posters or books for her to like pull things out of. It's like I think the idea is Alex draws, which is very funny because I can't draw for anything in real life.
Back to the relationship with Mr. Wilford, of the like back and forth you have with Sean Bean, like she's like the one person who can kind of be super casual with him. She even calls him Dubs at one point. You look like you're having a lot of fun.
That was so much fun. Getting to go off of each other, I think, was really fun. And definitely, like you said, Alex is kind of definitely the only character that can be kind of really confrontational and casual with him, because he can't really do anything, because she actually holds a lot of power with him too, because he's so desperate to keep her from trusting her mom.
After catching up with Snowpiercer, one of the first things Mr. Wilford asks for is his favorite bottle of scotch, among other things, like comfort things that he wants. What items would you have asked for after 7 years of losing those comfortable items and food, etc.?
Yeah, well, I think that would be the biggest thing for me, is like the food. Like there's like not like eggs or like, fresh fruit and stuff like that. Like those are all deemed like delicacies and like unreachable items. So I would definitely have a long list of food. Probably like a projector or something, because it gets kind of boring back there in the train, I feel like.
What food would you ask for?
Gosh, I mean, maybe like canned, like delicious like chocolates or like cake or something. That's what my brain is at this morning.
Just a little bit of nutrition from a chocolate cake or something.
Yeah, definitely a nice nutritious chocolate cake.
Love it. Well, you're great in the show, so thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, thank you for hanging out with me today.
Lovely to see you. Love your Star Wars collection you have back there.
Thank you. It's all my knickknacks. And actually, I try to put little Easter eggs in for everyone I talk to when I do interviews. And this is the little guy I had here for you. Rocketeer. So season 1 of Snowpiercer ends on this big cliffhanger when a second train called Big Alice latches on to the butt of Snowpiercer, basically. Why did no one mention this second train?
Yeah, well, it takes them by surprise. I mean, they didn't know that it was coming until right before it got there. I mean, Sneaky Ben was the only one who had a sense that it was arriving, and he kept that secret. So, it was Wilford's dastardly plan to catch up with Snowpiercer.
And Big Alice has 2 passengers who are problematic for Melanie. The first is her daughter, Alex, played by Rowan Blanchard. And of course, the other passenger is Mr. Wilford, who we also thought was dead, played by Sean Bean.
I want my train back, Melanie. She's not mine to surrender.
In watching these first episodes, it looks like you're having so much fun with Sean in these scenes. Like, can you tell me about the cat and mouse game they're playing and what it's like working with him on these?
They know each other. They know each other really well, and they know each other's tricks. And they're both They're dancing around one another. They're both really clever, and they both operate really differently. You know, I think Wilford has this incredible charm, and Sean seemed to really relish in exploring that, and just had a lot of fun. And they're always like trying to be one step ahead of one another. It was a lot of fun working with them.
It shows. I mean, I love how Melanie and Mr. Wilford are trying to extract bits of information from each other, but no one's willing to budge. And it's really like a fun dance to watch.
Yeah, I feel like they're always like everything is loaded. Every point of contact is an opportunity to check out what's happening with the ventilation, with the, you know, like with everything.
I love when Melanie walks in, she goes, "Oh, Big Alice has dimmers." Like only Melanie would even notice that, honestly. If you were a guest on Snowpiercer and you had full reign of the train and could visit any car you wanted to, which car would we be most likely to see you hanging out in?
There's a place in season 2 that you'll get to see where they get a glimpse of the outside. And my family always makes fun of me because I'm like, every day I'm like, let's get outside and get some fresh air and move around a little bit. It's kind of my mantra. So for me, I think that place.
The cold, the outside.
Well, it's not outside. It's just a place where you have, where you're afforded the view of the
Got
outside.
it. All right. After Mr. Wilford catches up with Snowpiercer, he sends this laundry list of items that he once retrieved for Big Alice, including his favorite bottle of scotch. If you were in his shoes and were sending a laundry list of some of the comfort things you missed or your favorite things, whether it's food, books, movies, music, what would your laundry list include?
Well, a lot of that was for assessment because he's trying to see, frankly, it's not actually for personal enjoyment. I think he's doing it to assess what they have and what they're lacking. But what would I ask for? I don't know. I mean, the first thing that pops in my head is apples. I eat so many apples, it's ridiculous. Sugar bee apples, my favorite.
Does Wilford ask for apples too?
He asks for apples. I think he's, again, his inventory is a way of taking inventory of Snowpiercer.
There's so much subtext to everything that happens in this show that you watch it one way and you're like, oh, Wilford just wants apples. But no, he's actually low-key, like, trying to figure out what's going on the train. I love that about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of my little Rocketeer here, I was realizing that you have so many big action scenes in this. It's a very physical role. And I wondered, what was a more physical role, Melanie in Snowpiercer or Jenny Blake in Rocketeer?
Definitely Snowpiercer. I mean, because I'm sort of doing the action. She's like MacGyver. I mean, is on season 2. I'm like, I was watching it, and my son, he was like, "Mom, we'll fix it." And she's like, anything that happens, like, Melanie's gonna fix it, and she always knows how to fix everything, and she's kind of always climbing up things and over things and inside things and creating torque and, you know, whatever she's doing, she's always, you know, solving problems, and you know, she's bold and courageous, and it was really fun. It was really fun stuff to do.
Well, it shows, and I love the show and what I've seen of season 2 so far. I'm so excited for people to see this.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.
Snowpiercer. Do you copy?
7 years ago, the Earth froze. Now the train is all that's left.
Layden's trying to keep the peace, but we're one dirty look away from a civil war.
We're in for something far worse than anything we've just come through.
Yes. Finally. Apocalypse isn't so bad, really. I think we're going to get to know each other very well. Welcome to Big Alice.
You tell Mr. Wilford the people of Snowpiercer will never surrender.
Everybody got their Top button still up?
You leave once, then you leave me twice. There's not much chance of a world for you if I don't.
Are you willing to risk everything?
Good luck, Andre. He's Snowpiercer's only chance at a new life.
We all know how this ends, don't we?
You want to slingshot us up the mountain? Let's see what two engines can do.